Hi there guys, it's Ebird Online and I'm here with my final review for this week, and it's a review for Ed and Rose and Geoffrey and Varya. Thank you guys so much for all your support and all your great comments, and if you haven't done so as yet, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Ebird99. So first up, we're going to talk about Geoffrey and Varya, and we've got a little bit of work to do here. Don't worry guys, I'm still doing my video on Geoffrey, I just need to get a little bit more information together. So Geoffrey and Varya have checked into the hotel, and Geoffrey is very upset that Varya has decided not to stay with him, and he doesn't know why. Geoffrey, I'll tell you why. She doesn't know you, and she realises by looking into your eyes that you are a weirdo, you are a psycho, something is not right, something is off. That's why, Geoffrey. And Geoffrey tells Darcey things between us were like really awkward. And Darcey says, yeah, I thought you were kind of like a robot. You know, somebody with no emotions. Darcey, my love, you're on the right track. Keep going down this road. A person with no emotions, i.e. a psycho. And Geoffrey said, I thought you were standoffish. Girls need to stand off you, Geoffrey, because if they don't, the blows are coming, thick and fast. And Geoffrey followed up by saying, I wondered if she was even attracted to me. Geoffrey, you know well and good you're a good looking boy, and that's why you've been so successful with women thus far. Unfortunately for you, rumours are catching up with you in the US and people know what you're like, so you've decided to turn your attentions to Russia, so that you can terrorise the women of another landmass with your wicked deeds. But Geoffrey said to Varya, let's just start over. And Varya said, yeah, I hope we open up and I hope we get to know each other. And Geoffrey said, this relationship's very strange for me, and he thinks it's because she's Russian that they have this sort of disconnect. Geoffrey, it's because you're a psycho that have this disconnect. Say what you want about Varya, we know that she just wants to find her way into the US, and that's absolutely fine. I'm figuring it's par for the course now with these 90-day fiancé people. However, you give her bad vibes. She feels very unsafe with you, and so it seems to me as if Varya has a sixth sense, the same sixth sense a lot of women have. Very often we know when we meet a wrong one, but we tell ourselves, well, what do I know? I don't know him yet, so let's just take time and see. No, he may have piercing blue eyes and a square jaw, but we know a wrong one when we see it. And Varya tells production that Geoffrey goes on about villages and woods and nature, and that he's very, very boring. She wishes he'd stop. And this is very interesting to me because Geoffrey said, oh, I'm from nature and she's from nature, when trying to create his narrative of shared interests. And it's interesting that yes, you're both from nature. Varya found her first opportunity to run from it. So maybe we'll find out that Geoffrey's friend Olga was right all along. She's not interested in the country. She wants to be seen in the big cities. Maybe she's right. My theory is that Geoffrey talks on and on about nature because it makes him seem soft and nice, and prevents him from having to talk about reality, like his rap sheet. And when Varya tells Geoffrey, but I promised my friends that I wouldn't sleep in the same room with you, Geoffrey says, why not? But then he very quickly follows up with, no worries, no, it's fine. And then he started sulking. But I would just like your company. I'm sure you would, Geoffrey. And he tells producers that he's very hurt and that he wanted to stay up late and talk. Is that what they call it in Tennessee? Talking? Interesting. And then Geoffrey says, the whole point of this trip is to get to know each other better. I'm going to say this twice. The whole point of this trip is to get to know each other better. Remember this, guys, because it's going to become very relevant later. And next up, we see them sitting in a restaurant, and Varya says she wants to know all about his exes. Why did they split up? What happened in the relationships? And it's not a surprising thing, all women do. I always tell my girlfriends, and I've always had this theory myself, you find out everything that you need to find out within the first 8 weeks, because thereafter, answers get a little bit sketchy, and people are very economical with the truth. I think when guys are still pursuing and chasing you, they let you know what you need to know. They're far more open and far more likely to tell you information. I think once they've caught you, information is only to be given as and when they deem fit, and to their extreme benefit. But as we ladies know, it could of course be worse. You could be a man trying to extract the truth from a woman, and then right from day one to day done, who knows what's true? Who knows? And Geoffrey questions Darcey, why do you want to learn about my past? And he says, when you learn about all of this sort of stuff, you start to dwell on things, and I don't want to inhibit the growth of our relationship. Translation, if you knew the truth, you'd be gone. And Varya asks him why he lied about his kids. And Geoffrey said, I never lied about my kids, I just never said anything. And Varya said, but I found out that you had 3 kids on social media, and I was really surprised that I didn't know about it already. I'd like to get to know you better, and I'd like to know about your past. And then Geoffrey said, I didn't want to involve a child unless we were going somewhere. Geoffrey, at least 2 of your kids are about 17 and 19. They are not children. They are 2 adults. So you didn't want to involve adults unless you were going somewhere. Why? And also, telling Varya about your boys isn't involving the adults. You're telling Varya, yes, I have dependents and I have kids that I am responsible for. That's information that Varya needs to know. It's nothing to do with involving the kids. You didn't have to tell the kids anything. Varya asked you, why did you not tell her? And I'm still waiting for your answer. And then Geoffrey starts picking at the food. He says beets and onions and potatoes and some herring. Who puts these things together and calls it a dish? Geoffrey, where are you? Oh yeah, you're in Russia. So Russians put these things together and call it a dish. And it's just another demonstration to me of Geoffrey's rudeness. And he scowls as he's eating, like a petulant child. So guys, it started already with Geoffrey. He's contradicting himself massively. So one minute he says, I want us to spend lots of time together, overnight, so that we can get to know each other. And on the other hand, he asks Varya, why do you want to learn about my past? Because then you start to dwell on things, and I don't want to inhibit the growth of our relationship. Geoffrey, which one is it? Do you want to find out about each other? Or do you want to just find out bits and bobs as the months go by? Oh, Geoffrey, we've got your number. We've had it for quite some time. You want Varya to know about positive things, about the woods, and I'm at one with nature, and I fix things with my hands, and I've got a square jaw and baby blue eyes. And you don't want her to know that I'm a sexual predator and a perpetrator of domestic violence, and much, much more. So guys, let me know what you think about this story. Do you think that Varya is in danger? And do you think that Varya has a sixth sense which has led her to think, I'm very wary of Geoffrey, I'm not 100% sure of him? I'm pretty certain now that even though Varya finds Geoffrey good looking, she doesn't really like his personality, and I believe that she's definitely in it just for the green card, and she kind of makes it a bit obvious as well. I think Olga is correct. I think she'll be 10 seconds in the country and she'll be off to the big city. She'll just have to bide her time. So let me know what you think in comments down below. And next up, we're going to talk about Big Ed and Rose. So we first catch up with Ed when he's just got off the plane, and he tells us he's been on 3 planes in 17 hours. He sounds a little bit like Justin Bieber or Ed Sheeran. Maybe he's played 4 cities in 2 days. And Ed tells us he's ready to propose marriage to Rose. How can you be, Ed? You've never met her. You're 54 and she's 23. You're beyond ridiculous. And Ed confesses to us that he's a little bit nervous about meeting Rose because he's lied to her about his height. And he tells us he knows he has an amazing personality, but he says, I know I'm not attractive. Ed, don't do yourself down. Have some of Lisa's chutzpah. And then TLC treats us to a little trip down memory lane with Rose. And we go back 24 hours and we see what Rose was doing before Ed travelled. And Rose, it turns out, lives in a very, very small house in a village, and she lives in 2 rooms. And as we look around the little flat, I can see it's extremely small. There's no kitchen and there's no toilet. And Rose tells us they sleep on the floor. That's Rose, her sister, and her son. And I have a good look around this property, and I believe that the bacteria levels will almost certainly bring out skin diseases in Ed. Ed prepared to be patchy and red, and Rose reminds us she's a single mum, and she said life is hard but I'm always positive. And she tells us her mum passed away last year, and so her sister's been like a second mother to her. And she said Ed makes her laugh. She likes his hair. How do you know, Rose? You've yet to smell it. And she said she wants her son to call Ed Daddy because she wants Ed to take care of her son. And you can see when you're talking to Rose, she just needs help. Her and her sister are terribly, terribly poor. And we treated to film of them doing their washing in hand basins outside. And she tells us she'd like 2 more kids and she'd like them with Ed. Oh dear, there's even more trouble on the horizon. This horizon's getting pretty crowded with all the trouble that's coming Rose's way. And her sister then tells us that she's just very happy that Ed is rich. We know, sister. Your fingers are in his pockets before you've even met him. And then we get to see Rose's dad, and Ed is the same age as her dad, she tells us, and her dad's very protective of her. Not protective enough, it would seem, but her dad tells us he wants Ed to prove that he can take care of Rose. And the next time we see Ed, he's waiting at the airport and Rose is over 40 minutes late. Ed cuts quite a lonely figure standing there on his own in arrivals, and he starts to really genuinely worry that Rose will not turn up. And I think to myself, is Ed really genuinely worrying? Because that's almost like the boss worrying if his worker will turn up on payday. Don't worry, they'll be there, hands outstretched. And when Ed finally saw Rose, he ran over and Ed gave Rose a big hug, and Rose's hug was a little more tepid. And then Rose said that she's sorry that she was late, but the traffic was absolutely terrible. And they were quite tactile with each other, which was quite a good sign. And he asked, do you like? Oh, Ed, Really? And then Rose said she expected him to be taller and not as fat. And she assessed him like a judge looking over a cow at the Texas State Fair. Do you find me attractive? Asked Ed. Yeah, you're okay. I don't just want to be okay. I want to be your king. I want you to find me attractive. Ed, this is a very big ask. I don't even think that I would ask somebody that. Do you find me attractive upon first meeting them? It's very full on and you have to be very, very sure of yourself. You know, kind of like Lisa sure of yourself. That's what you have to be. And then Rose says, you're my king. And Ed said, I now have faith in love again. Do you, Ed? Really? Let's assess what Rose loves. Number 1, money. 2, opportunity. 3, the USA. And I don't doubt she loves her family and her friends, but very probably not you, Ed. Probably not you. And so they get into a taxi and they're going to go to a hotel. So at this point, Ed decides to start acting like the big cheese, or at least Big Baby Bell, and starts asking Rose, is this your first time in Manila? And Rose said, no, I went to Manila for New Year's once, and we got a hotel with some friends. And Ed said, oh, just all girls, all girls? No, girls and guys. Oh, really? Girls and guys? Oh, so girls and guys in separate rooms then? No, we all had one room. You know, we just had a party, we got drunk, we passed out. Oh, well, that sounds really strange. I'm not sure that I'm happy you partying in the same room with guys. Ed, you've met her 2 minutes ago. You're 54. She is 23. Nobody cares what you think. Just be lucky that you're in the presence of one so young and beautiful. You probably won't have this again. You're being very rude, very weird and very possessive. You need to calm down. You're being Trey weird. And so that's where we end this story for this week. So guys, I take back about 90% of the judgment I had about Rose. I fully understand why she's trying to get out of the Philippines. She lives in absolute abject poverty. It wouldn't surprise me if they don't always have enough money to eat. They have no running water, they have no bathroom, they have no kitchen. And I do wonder to myself, where did that lean green fat reducing machine go? But I digress. Ed's in for a big shock when he sees this property. That's all I know. A big shock and a big rash. So guys, tell me what you think. Who goes up to somebody they've just met and says, what do you think of me? Do you think I'm hot? Do you find me attractive? Who does that? Even when you are hot and attractive, you don't do that. You certainly don't do it when you know good and well that you're not. I wanted to like Ed, but he's becoming more and more sinister as time goes by. And also I don't like the way that Ed is trying to pretend, I'm in love, I believe in love again. You know damn well this isn't love. You know damn well this is a financial transaction. And you haven't even found any common ground between the two of you that you can even pretend that you have something in common or that you actually love her. You're just simply saying, you're beautiful, you have beautiful hands, I love you. But the main thing I wanted to talk about was the fact that Rose says she definitely wants 2 more children, and Ed is saying that he wants to have a vasectomy and he definitely doesn't want any more kids. So Rose's little child is going to be an only one. I think that because they want completely different life objectives, that Ed should leave Rose alone and just concentrate on somebody nearer his own age and somebody that's already had their kids or doesn't want any kids anyway. I think it's extremely unfair for him to financially exploit Rose, because I know what it's going to come down to. Either take a gamble of having 2 more kids and stay where you are in abject poverty, or give up your plans of having 2 more kids and come with me to America. Why ever, as a grown man, would you give a 23-year-old that dilemma? I'm beginning to really dislike Ed. So guys, tell me what you think. Do you think these are all considerations just for Rose, and that it's up to Ed if he wants any more kids or not? I just think Ed should have been straight with her, so she didn't waste time, effort and money on Ed, knowing that really the relationship can't go any further. So let me know what you think in comments down below. So I've finally caught up now. Hopefully this evening or tomorrow I'm going to watch Sunday's episode of Before the 90 Days, and I'm going to start my videos next week. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and please also follow me on Twitter at Ebird99. Thank you so much for watching, guys. You've been listening to Ebird Online. Ciao for now.